Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this playthrough of basically we just unboxed the Mad Titan Shadow and now we're doing what I typically do with the pre-built decks for the heroes is I basically do not change the deck at all. I play with it exactly how it comes in the deck or in the box. I basically just sleeved this up, shuffled it 100 times or so, give it a good shuffle, and we'll do some more shuffles here. But what I normally do with these hero decks is I take them and I put them against the Rhino deck, which was the starter deck in the starter villain deck in the core box. And then normally it recommends you put the side scheme called Bomb Scare inside of there. In this case, since we're doing the Mad Titan Shadow, there are 6 other little side schemes, or side stories, I guess, however you want to call them. Now, as I say that, there's actually 7. We actually have the Infinity Gauntlet one. I'm not going to conclude that into there. So I have them laid out here 1 through 6. I figured I'll just roll a dice, and whatever it comes up is, that's what I'm going to mix in. So we're basically going to see same old regular standard deck, but then we're going to see some of the side stuff from the Titan Shadow. All right, enough going through that. We'll just get right into this. I will warn, it has been a while. I'm a little out of practice of doing these. I just had to take a little bit of a break to take care of some other things. But we're going to get right into this. All right, first off bat, I got the Nemesis, which is Spectrum's Nemesis, is Radioactive Man. Got him off to the side just in case we hit Shadows of the Past or something has that come up. And then let's roll the dice. It's Draugr, or what is it? We got Legions of Hell. We have Frost Giants, Enchantress. What is this one? Black Order. Children of Thanos. And Armies of Titan. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh dice I just had laying around. 4 looks like it is going to be the Black Order. So the Black Order will be apparently helping out Rhino. And I've already put the standard cards, the standard deck in here. And if I can find it quickly, the obligation is getting shuffled in there, which is the obligation for Spectrum. All right. I'll cut as I shuffle this. All right, that should be more than enough shuffles. And we'll go ahead and just put that up here in its spot. And actually, I've left the other one at the shop, but I'm gonna start using these counters just because it saves up a little space. Like I said, a little rusty on this, but we're gonna jump right into it. We start out in her alter ego form, which is Monica Rambeau. And it lets us know, as setup, put all 3 energy form upgrades into play, face down, which these are her energy upgrades. We're going to put them face down for now, but since this is a leadership deck, as we saw in the unboxing, I know this is going to take up a lot of space. So for now, I will have them over here. Actually, I'm just going to do it like this, save some space. There we go. And the ones that are showing, we'll just have them face up. But yep, and then we know we start with a hand size of 6, and she starts with 11 hit points. I've already put myself at 11. This is where I forgot the other one at the shop. And then, as we see, she has a power as a forced response that after I change to this form, turn all my energy form upgrades face down. All right. So she's there. All right, and if this is your first time to join me, I will let you know we're going to go through a playthrough, and I'm going to talk through as I do this playthrough. If you've watched this before, you know how I do this. I just talk through the first round. That way, if somebody is interested in the game and they want to check it out, see if it's something that might be up their alley, they could try. They could just kind of at least follow along. So I talk through the first round, and then after that, we kind of just start blasting through it. But let's see if we can solo play and whoop Rhino. So the way this works is, and I need to draw my 6 cards, so that should be a good enough shuffle. All right, and we draw our 6 cards. All right, and this is a leadership deck, so it is my second favorite aspect to play, so hopefully we'll see if that transfers over on this. So the point of the game is, Rhino is trying to break into a shield facility and steal vibranium. He is going to try to pull that scheme off, the break-in, and we have to try to knock him out twice when he does this. He starts out, he gets 14 hit points per player. Since solo, he gets 14. We already got him there, it is 14. And when we knock him out, he'll switch to his stage 2 where he'll get 15 hit points per player. And then we knock him out that second time, we win. We lose if he can pull off his scheme. And the way he pulls the scheme off is every turn he's going to be adding threat to the scheme. And if he gets 7 threat on there per player, so in this case solo, 7 threat on there, he wins. Or if he manages to knock out all the players. So if he knocks me out, since I'm the only player, he wins. So he's going to try to pull off his scheme or knock me out before I can knock him out twice. Starts out on the player's turn, or their phase, and during that phase, they are going to take actions until they decide to move on to their end turn. Through the unboxing, we kind of saw that the way she's going to work is basically she has these energy forms and she can change between them. And what they do is they add to her abilities in her hero form. So if I could change to Pulsar form, I would get +2 to her defense. If I change to Photon form, I get +2 to her thwart. And if I change to Gamma form, I get +2 to her attack. Also, when I change those forms, the thwart one, since it has to do with going against the scheme, is going to let me remove a threat from a scheme. The defense one will heal for 1 when I do it automatically. It's just a hero response. And then after I change to the Gamma one, it deals the damage to an enemy. So that's just to let you know, since they're not going to be face up, whenever I'm sitting there, once I switch to my hero form and I'm starting to change into those different forms, it's pretty much going to be one of those 3 things. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just switch that to make it easier for the people who have not played before. One of the things you could do on your turn is you start out the game in alter ego form. One of the things you could do on your turn is once per turn, you could switch from alter ego form to hero form, or vice versa from hero form to alter ego form. Switching to alter ego form, or from switching forms, sorry, like I said, little of it, so I'm trying to make sure I go through everything out of practice. Here we go. When switching forms, it's going to change the abilities you have and your hand size. And then it's also going to change what abilities you have here to the left, which are just your basic abilities. So, as we switch to hero form, because we're doing that action right now, we have to look here. It says it's a forced response. And it says, after I change to this form, choose a face-down energy form upgrade. Flip that card face up to change to that energy form. So, as a forced response, since I just now switched to hero form, I have to choose which of these forms I'm going to switch to. And as we saw earlier, it has me choose to either get +2 to my thwart, which is going to help me remove threat from the scheme, which there's no threat there, so there's no reason to beef up my thwart right now. I can put it in attack, which means that when I attack, I'll do more damage to Rhino. Or I can put it in defense, which means when he comes to attack me, I can block more damage and not take as much. I think in this case, I'm going to switch to the attack one, which I believe was Gamma. Yep, Gamma. So I'm going to switch to the Gamma form. And since I switched to the Gamma form, it gives me +2 attack. And after I change to this energy form, I deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we do 1 damage to Rhino. This is an upgrade. So what an upgrade is an upgrade is something that goes on to a character, basically. And I'm just going to put this down here like this. Well, I'll keep it up. Well, yeah, we'll put it down here like this. And just remember, she has the +2 to attack. Now, I did that because it was the forced response. Now, as another action, you can play cards from your hand. And when you go to play cards from your hand, every card has a cost up here at the top. In order to pay that cost, you would discard cards for the resources down at the bottom to spend that resource to pay for that cost. Unless you have some, there are some things that allow you to do it otherwise, but that is the main way you play cards from your hand. So, and the reason I'm saying that is normally this would be an action you would choose, but this is another responsibility that I want to do. As in hero form response, I'm in hero form and I'm responding. After I change form, my hero gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense until the end of the round. So, I want to play this in response of me turning into hero form. It's a 0 cost, so in this case, I do not have to discard anything. An event means it's a one-time play. I'm just going to put it here to remember I have +1 and everything there, but then after that, it just goes away. But I'm just going to keep it. Normally, I would just play it and then it goes away immediately, but I'm keeping it here so I remember I have the +1 to all my thwart, attack, and defense until the end of the round. And the round is actually encompasses my turn and the villain's turn. So the end of the round is at the end of the villain's turn, basically. So that means I'd have that plus to my defense also. So that's playing a card from my hand. Another action you can do, I already kind of hinted on, but you can do one of these basic actions here to the left. For my action, my basic action, I can choose to exhaust her, and I can thwart the scheme and remove a number of threat equal to the number that is right here. Hence, there's no threat on the scheme, I'm not going to thwart. I can also exhaust her and attack, and I already mentioned, to do damage to Rhino. Or if I'm being attacked, I can exhaust her to defend, and it means the damage I would take from the attack is reduced by whatever my defense is right now. And remember, all my stats are +1 now, so it's like these all say 2 on them. And because I'm in gamma form, my attack is +2 again, so that means my attack is a +4 right now. So I'm going to choose to exhaust Spectrum and attack Rhino for 4 damage. So Rhino takes 4 damage. I'm going to play a card from my hand. Speed of Light. It costs 0 to play. It is another event. I have to be in hero form because this is a hero action. I am in hero form. So as a hero action, change energy forms and draw 1 card. So I'm going to change energy forms. So I'm changing from Gamma, and I'm going to change into the defense one, which was Pulsar. So I'm changing into Pulsar form. Now I have a +2 to my defense, and it says as a hero response, after I change to this energy form, heal 1 damage from Spectrum. I am undamaged. I cannot go above 11, so I unfortunately do not get to heal. But I do get to draw a card, which gives me a Pulsar Shield. I'm just going to go ahead and put my discard right there. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I do when I play Spider-Woman, who has ways she has stats. Since this is +1 to all my stats, I'm just going to put that on there to remember +1. That way that's already in my discard pile also. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and bring out White Tiger here. Costs 3 to bring out. So since this is the first one that I actually have to pay for, I'll show. So hence at the bottom of each of these, they have a resource. 1, 2, 3. Discard 3. And that pays for White Tiger. And what White Tiger here is she is an ally. So she comes into play, and she has 2 hit points. And then it says response, after I play White Tiger from my hand, draw X cards to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. If the villain has no stage number, draw 1 card. So we look at the top here. I know it's kind of hard to make out. Well, not really. Rhino is at stage 1. And the starter one always does stage 1 and stage 2, which is on the back of this card. I did not show it, but yeah, you can normally play him in 3 different stages. Since he's in stage 1, I get to draw 1 card in response for bringing out White Tiger. So, Speed of Light. And I know these are normally damage counters, but I like to go ahead and put the counters on there, and just that way I know how many hit points they have left. So I just remove them from the counters, basically. Just makes it easier for me, sorry. Another thing about an ally is you'll notice they have the same basic actions over here to the left. So you could basically do the same actions you could normally do with your character with an ally. Just notice they also have thwart and attack, and it shows like 2. She would thwart for 2, she would attack for 2. But notice they don't have a defense. So if she were to defend, I would exhaust her and she would just have to take it in the face, which would be she has 2 hit points. In this case, I'm going to exhaust her to attack Rhino. But notice that the characters, or the allies I mean, they have these little stars underneath them, underneath each of the abilities. So what that means is that's called consequential damage. So anytime they would do said action, they would have to take consequential damage after the action. So now that I'm attacking with White Tiger, it means she'll have to take 1 consequential damage after doing this attack. So I'm going to exhaust her and attack Rhino for 2. And then now that I've done 2 damage, now that I've done the attack, she has to take 1 consequential star in damage. Once you have no actions you want to do, or can do, you can go to your Instep. And during your Instep, first thing you'll do is you'll choose to discard any cards from hand that you do not want in your hand at the moment. In this case, I want to keep both these cards in my hand. So I'm going to keep them, so I have 2 in hand. And now you draw up to whatever your hand size is. Remember, in Alter Ego form, my hand size was 6. Now in Hero form, my hand size is 5. So I'm going to draw up to 5. So I had 2, so I draw 3 new cards into my hand. And then, voice cracking. And then we unexhaust all of our cards. And we move on to the villain. The first thing the villain does is he accelerates his scheme. You look here to see how much acceleration he has. This number was telling you how much threat starts out on the scheme. In this case, it was 0. That's the reason he has no threat on the scheme at the moment. But now we look at the acceleration. And the acceleration is +1 threat per number of players. So, solo mode adds 1 threat to the scheme. So he is 1 to his 7 he is trying to get. Next, the villain is, and any attached or engaged bad guys or minions will attack or scheme. That goes by what form my character is in. Right now, if my character is in Alter Ego form, then the bad guys will scheme and add more threat to the scheme, main scheme. If I am in Hero form, then they will attack, and that's when I have to choose if I want to defend or not. In this case, I am in Hero form, So Rhino will attack me. So before we do anything, I have to decide if I'm going to defend with Spectrum. And I could choose to defend with White Tiger. But considering I haven't taken any damage yet, and White Tiger can do more damage than just absorbing one hit point, well, I guess some damage, I'm going to choose to go ahead and defend with Spectrum, because right now I have a +2 to defense, and this +1 from the Moxie that I had played. So really my defense is 4 right now, which means I will stop 4 damage from coming to me. So I am going to defend. So I exhaust her to defend. Now, of course, what this means is, remember, I do not unexhaust or ready my characters until the end of my turn. So that means now that I exhausted her to defend, I would not be able to attack or thwart with her on my turn, because you have to exhaust them in order to do that. I have a hero interrupt here. Defense. It says when Spectrum defends, change to Pulsar energy form and ready Spectrum. If you were already in Pulsar energy form, she gains Retaliate 1 until the end of the phase. I am already in Pulsar. Oh, first I need to pay for this. Sorry, I had it off to the side, just realized it. So, discarding this to pay for this. Did it. It says, when Spectrum defends, change to Pulsar energy form. Already in Pulsar energy form. And ready Spectrum. So I get to ready her. If I was already in Pulsar energy form, I gain Retaliate. What Retaliate means is, every time I'm attacked, I do 1 damage to the thing that attacked me. So, that was my defense. I actually think I was supposed to play a little after, I think, because it's either way, we know she's going to untap. So I just went ahead and did that while we were over here. Alright, so Rhino is attacking. He's going to do 2 damage. But he is a villain. So a villain gets dealt what's called a boost card. So we take the top card from the deck and we flip it over. But we're not looking at the card. Oh, this is a good one to have as a boost card. You do not want this card to come up normally, but we'll get to that later. But anyways, we ignore the rest of the card. And we're looking just down here at the bottom. And you're looking for those symbols right there. For each one of those symbols that are down there, we add +1 to his damage. So in this case, he's doing 2 + 2. So he's doing 4 damage. Well, I defended, so my defense was 1 +1 from the Moxie, 2 + 2 from Pulsar, so 4. So I stopped 4 damage. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I take no damage. And I have Retaliate now. So that means he's going to take 1 damage for attacking me. And normally, if there was a minion that came into play, they would engage with me and they'd be over here and I'd have to have them attack or scheme also. In this case, since I'm playing solo, I just put all the bad guys, including minions, over in one area. But there's no minions, so that part of the villain phase is done. Now we go to what's called the encounter step. In the encounter step, each player is dealt 1 encounter card. And then you have to deal with all the encounter cards that are in front of you, so that if something else made you take more encounters. So now we have to deal with whatever this card is, which is Stampede. It is a treachery. It says when revealed, Alter Ego. This card gains Surge. What Surge means is basically deal myself another card. Basically is what it is. Alright. When revealed, Hero form, Rhino attacks you. If a character is damaged by this attack, that character is stunned. So, once again, I am still in hero form. So he is going to attack me. Well, I still have the Retaliate 1 because it's until the end of the phase. So I have it through this whole villain phase. And I'm still +1 and +2, so we're going to go ahead and defend. Of course, this is not going to unexhaust her. But I'm mainly defending because I do not want to be stunned. Because remember, it said on here that Rhino attacks, and if the character is damaged by the attack, I am stunned. And what stunned is this card would go on my character, and the next time I would go to attack, instead of attacking, this card would just go away. So it basically makes me lose my action. So I'm hoping to defend, plus I will do the retaliate 1 damage. So we're hoping we don't take any damage, so let's see. So he's attacking, he has 2, and we have to deal the boost card. Which is another 2, so 4 damage, 1 defense, plus 1 from Moxie, plus 2 from this, 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. I took no damage. Whew, so I do not get stunned. And that retaliate 1 is there till the end of the phase. So we retaliate for 1, taking him to 5. After the encounter phase, the last part of the villain phase is to switch the first player marker between players. In this case, I'm solo, so we're just going to ignore that from now on. But end of the villain phase, so that means all end of round stuff goes away, which is that Moxie. So I no longer have +1 all my stats. And then we go back to my turn. And that's it. It's just going back and forth until I either knock him out twice, or he knocks me out, or pulls off his scheme. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust White Tiger to attack Rhino for 2. Attack Rhino for 2. But now she has to take that consequence damage, which is enough to KO her. I am going to switch to Alter Ego form. As a forced response, when I switch to Alter Ego form here, let that focus. After I change this form, turn all my energy form upgrades face down. So, this goes back over here. And I'm going to choose to go to my Instep. I'm going to keep all 3 cards in hand. I draw up to my hand size of 6, so I draw 3 new cards. 1, 2, 3. Unexhaust. And I did not go over it. They do have another ability over here. I'm not going to use it, but I usually go over it, and I realized, like I said, out of practice, forgot to do it. On their Alter Ego side, you can exhaust them, as this is one of the basic abilities. You can exhaust them to recover this many hit points. Alright, back to the villain. He's going to add 1 threat to the scheme. I am taking a chance here because some bad stuff can go down just because of this deck, but we shall see. I am in Alter Ego form, so hence Rhino is going to scheme. And just like with the attack, he gets dealt a boost card, and he's doing 1, 0, and this is the one of the bad. There's 2 of them in the deck. If this comes up during my encounter, this could be real bad for us, but not so bad because of what just happened here. But because it will let him scheme again, and especially in a solo where he could just scheme, and lose. So one of these are out of the deck. But either way, 1 plus 0, there's 0 there, so he just adds 1 threat to the scheme. And now we go to the encounter phase. We deal with the encounter card, which is Gang Up. When revealed, if I'm in Alter Ego form, gain Surge. Hero form, the villain and each minion engaged with you attacks. Well, I'm in Alter Ego form, so it gains Surge, which means I deal myself another card. And now, I'm Tough. When revealed, give Rhino a Tough status card. If Rhino already has a Tough status card, this card gains Surge. He does not have Tough, so we give him Tough. Which, the Tough status card is, this would go on him. And the next time he would take damage, instead, he doesn't take damage, and this goes away. I have these little plastic things instead of the card. So he's got a Tough shield on him. And now we go back to my turn. I'm going to switch to my hero form. Because I do that, I have to choose one of these forms to go into. And I'm going to go into the photon form, which gives me +2 thwart. And after I change to this energy form, remove 1 threat from a scheme. So, remove 1 threat from a scheme. I'm going to put this into play. Discarding these 2 cards. Which gives me energy duplication, which is an upgrade. And what it does is if I'm in hero form, when I'm spending that resource where I'm discarding cards to pay for things, I can exhaust this to generate the printed resource of my face-up energy form upgrade. So it's like I'm basically exhausting this to get that energy symbol off of my energy form upgrade. So, makes things cheaper. Since my thwart is +3 right now, it's a little bit of an overkill, but I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Spectrum and thwart the scheme for 1 +2, removing 3 threat from the scheme, which clears the threat from the scheme. All right, I'm going to use this. I'm going to exhaust this. Well, actually, it's a resource, so it means I'm going to play this, which means in response, I have to spend resources. I need 1 resource. I'm going to exhaust this, and it gives me whatever resource at the bottom of the energy form I'm in. So in this case, it gives me the mental one. So there's my 1 resource to put Blade into play here. Now, I noticed something interesting in the unboxing. So he's 1 for 3 hit points. And he only has 1 thwart or 2 attack. But I noticed he has no consequence stars. And it's because, if you'll notice next to the thwart and attack, it's got a little star. And it's because he has a forced response. After Blade thwarts or attacks, I choose to either spend a fist or strength resource from my hand, or I discard Blade. So, I put him into play. He starts with 3 hit points. I'm going to go ahead and do Speed of Light, which changes my energy form and lets me draw a card. I'm going to change to the Pulsar energy form, which gives me plus the defense. Because I did that, it's supposed to heal me. I take that back. I'm going to switch to the Gamma form. And here's why. I was thinking I needed to defend, but I could take the damage. Hopefully it's not a stun thing. But it's because when I switch to this Gamma form, it gives me the hero response of, after I change this energy form, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So, I choose to do 1 damage to Rhino. But he has that tough thing, which says the next time he would take damage, instead remove this. So that 1 damage gets rid of that tough status. And then now I get to draw a card. I was hoping to draw either a wild or a strength resource. I did not. So I am going to do nothing with Blade. Otherwise I'd have to discard him afterwards, which I could, but let's have him sit around. Might be able to keep him for a little bit longer. So we're going to go to my Instep, where I want to keep both of my cards. So, draw up to my hand size of 5, so I get to draw 3. 1, 2, 3. Now notice something key about this one. They to be spent for 2 resources, but I am only allowed to have 1 in my deck. All right, unexhaust our guy, all of our stuff are ready. I always want to say unexhaust, it's ready. Same thing. Villain is going to accelerate the scheme for 1. I am in hero form, So he will attack. Unfortunately, due to the loss of power, by the time the power came back on, I forgot to finish out the bad guy turn, and it went straight to my turn. I'm going to bring out the Avengers Mansion. It costs me 4, 2, 3, 4. Puts it into play. It is an upgrade or support, which is kind of like a thing that stays over there instead of being attached to someone. Instead, it is something that just I can have off to the side, kind of like an ally that's an extra card. In this case, as an action, I can exhaust the Avengers Mansion, choose a player, and that player draws a card. So I put this into play, and I'm going to go ahead and exhaust it and choose me to draw a card. And I know Rhino's at 3. I could knock him out with Spectrum and get to his second stage. There's a reason I'm not, is I played against Rhino enough, and I know when he goes to his second stage, he's going to go dig for this side scheme, and we'll get to it because I'm definitely going to try to take him to his next stage. Just not right now, because that side scheme can be real annoying if you don't time it correctly. So I'm playing with a little knowledge ahead of time, knowing that's coming. So instead, I'm going to have Blade attack Rhino for only 2. So he does 2, taking Rhino to 1. And remember, he don't have consequence stars. Instead, I have to choose to either spend a red or strength resource from my hand or discard Blade. Oh, from my hand. I misread that. I was thinking I could use this. This wouldn't have changed game state if I would have just read. So what I'm going to do is, instead of spending this, when I spent that 4 for Avengers Mansion, I am instead going to exhaust this to get that extra resource from here for that. I was thinking I could spend it there, but instead, I'm going to keep this in my hand so that when I went to attack with Blade, I would have this to discard. Sorry for the confusion there, but like if I would have drawn cards or something would have changed that game state to where I would have made. Oh, I did draw a card because of that, and I mean that would have gave me the red, but I would have just done that if I would have paid attention and read instead of being an Aggie and not reading. I just thought it would spend a red resource, but it has to be from my hand. So I would have kept that, paid the one I would have used for this with this, so that I had this to discard to use for Blade. Sorry about that confusion, guys. Alright. And I'm going to use Spectrum. Like I said, I don't want to KO Rhino right now. Probably next turn. So I'm going to exhaust Spectrum just to thwart. Even though I do have the +2 attack here, I'm going to thwart to get rid of that threat. Because I have 2 expensive cards in hand that I want out. So I'm going to need to draw some extra cards. So we are switching to Alter Ego form, which makes this go back to face down. And now I'm going to the end of my turn. I want to keep both of these cards because I want to keep Captain America and the Avengers. Alright, anyways. Alright, so I got 2 cards in hand. Hand size is 6, so I get to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unexhaust. Accelerate the main scheme. I am in Alter Ego form, so Rhino will scheme for 1 + 1. So he's adding 2 threat to the scheme. Now we deal an encounter card. And now we deal with the encounter card, which is an attachment. It is charge. It's going to give Rhino +3 attack. And then forced interrupt. When Rhino attacks, the attack gains overkill. which means normally I said I could block with Blade or one of my allies and they would take the damage for me. Overkill means, in this case, it's +3, 4, 5. So he's doing 5 damage plus his boost card. So if I block with Blade, right now we're at 5. He would do 3 to Blade and the rest of the damage would overkill into me. So his next attack's going to be dangerous, but then it gets rid of charge. So probably want to make sure I have a good defense up. Or you can stun the bad guys so that the next time they would attack, they don't. So we might need to look for something like that. Back to the beginning of my turn. Sorry if anything looks different. Apparently electric company's messing with our power, so power was out for a few hours. As soon as it came back on, jumping right on to try to finish this. So if anything shifted, it's probably just moved out of place. But let's pick up where we left off, which, if I remember right, was the beginning of my turn and figuring out what I was going to do. Right off the bat, the first thing we're going to do is going to be the Avengers Mansion. We're going to use it as an action. We're going to exhaust it. Choose a player. That player draws a card. All right. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my hero form. I have to do the force response that after I change to my hero form, choose a face down energy form upgrade, flip that card face up to change to that energy form. So we're going to choose the Gamma one, which is the +2 attack, but it has a hero response that after I change to this energy form, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we're going to do 1 damage to Rhino, which is enough to KO him in this stage, taking him to his second stage. So we take him to his second stage, which is going to up his attack by 1. And then, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Breaking and Taken side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck. I have not seen it yet, so I'm assuming it's still in the deck. So let's go in there and get it. While I'm shuffling, I'll talk about what the side scheme is. So what a side scheme is basically just like the main scheme, where it's something that's going to be going on. But in this case, they don't have an escalation or acceleration, I should say, where it's going to keep getting threat. Instead, when it comes out, it starts with some threat, but then you have basically it's going to make the game harder by adding something to the game, making it more difficult until you can get the threat off of that scheme. In this case, this symbol is saying that during that encounter step, when I deal myself an encounter card and I have to deal with that encounter card, I would have to deal an additional card. So, yeah, we want to take care of that so we don't have to be dealing with 2 encounters a turn. All right, there should be enough shuffles there. And this is why I was waiting so long, and I could have taken Rhino to his next stage last turn, but I wanted to make sure I had a way to take care of this, which I think I do in my hand now, so we'll put this out. Sorry about the glare. I had it fixed pre the power outage, but apparently this is going to be a problem, so I'm just going to do it like that. Well, this side scheme shows I need to add 2, so it's going to start with 2 on it, and then when revealed, place an additional 1 threat here per player. So it's going to have 3 threat on it. So that's the reason I was trying to make sure I had a way to deal with 3 threat and get it off of here. So let's put the 3 threat on there. And then Rhino, his next stage, gets 15 hit points per player. So 15. And now all we need to do is KO him, take these last 15 points out, and we win. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Spectrum to attack Rhino for 1 plus the 2 because of the Gamma energy form. So doing 3 damage, taking him to 12. I'm going to play Speed of Light, which is a 0-cost hero action. Change energy forms and draw a card. I'm going to change to I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's the Thwart one. So I'm going to change to the Photon energy form. It has a hero response of, when I change to it, remove 1 threat from a scheme. So I'm going to remove 1 threat from the main scheme. And then now I draw a card. Alright, I want to bring out Captain America. And Captain America here reduces the cost to play Captain America by 1 for each Avenger character I control. I have 1 who is Blade, and then I am an Avenger character. So it would cost 4 to bring him out. As the hero resource, I'm going to exhaust this to get this energy. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that lets me bring out Captain America. And he starts with a toughness on him, just like the toughness card that went on Rhino. He gets that, so basically he gets to take 1 hit, and instead of taking damage, he will instead just discard that toughness. I want to play Photon Speed here. Costs 2. I drew this new resource, the Band Together. This card generates 1 wild resource for each ally I control. I control 2 allies, so I get 2, that pays for it. Lets me do this hero action. It's a Thwart. It lets me change to Photon energy form. So I change to Photon energy form, which I'm already there. And then if I were already in Photon energy form, I would get to ignore the crisis icon for this Thwart. So what the crisis thing does is it actually, if that was on this side scheme, then what it would mean is I would have to remove the side scheme before I could do anything towards the main scheme. And I know earlier I could have taken the scheme off of here. I targeted that because I'm about to do this Photon Speed. The Photon Speed lets me remove 4 threat from a scheme. 4 threat from a scheme, I only need to remove 3, but it does get rid of the breaking and taken, so I do not have to deal with the extra encounter card. And for some reason, I just thought wrong on that. I thought for some reason it was going to let me go to the other form, which is fine. This is the form I'm cool with being in. But if I would have known that, I would have actually went to this form first. That way I removed 1 threat, switched to the combat form, done my attack because I would have done the damage and all that then, and then played that, which would have let me switch to it. I just misplanned that. I think I had that planned before I lost electricity, but just forgot in the hours I had to wait for the power to come back on. With that, I'm not going to attack with Blade or do anything with Blade because I do not have a strength resource in my hand. So I would have to discard him after doing that. And I don't want to do anything with Cap because he has this toughness. And if I do anything with him, the consequential damage will get rid of the toughness. I have that big hit coming in where he's about to do 6+ damage to me. So I'm going to let Cap soak some of that damage up. And then we'll do some stuff on the next turn. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to go look it up. And it shows in the forums, the game designer actually came to, because I was thinking, man, he's about to do 6 damage to me. I was thinking 4 of it would be absorbed here and the rest would go over to Spectrum. But according to the game designer in the forums, this tough will absorb all the damage. So I'm good with not doing anything with Cap this turn so he can just absorb that big hit that's about to come in. We're going to go to my Instep. I am going to discard this because I was thinking I needed this to absorb some of that damage. But since I'm not going to need it, and it sounds like Cap's going to absorb all of it. I love Captain America. He's awesome. I'm going to discard that. I'm only going to keep 1 card in hand. I keep wanting to get this out. Just keep drawing better cards. We're going to draw up to my hand size of 5, so I draw 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we ready everything. And I keep meaning to say it every time when I was bringing one of these allies out. I just would go, oh, I'm going to come back to it, and then I never did. If you are new to the game, you are limited to only having 3 allies out at a time. So hence, I got 2 of my 3 allies out. Move to the bad guy. He's accelerating the threat and adding an extra threat to the scheme. I am in hero form. So hence, Rhino is going to attack. And right now he's doing 3 plus 3 from the charge. And it has overkill. But it ain't going to matter because Captain America is going to jump in and save the day. Now he's not going to be able to attack, but he'll absorb all that damage. So I'm defending with Captain America. So right now we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Instead of taking damage, the tough goes away. And then with Rhino, we have the forced interrupt that says when Rhino attacks, the attack gains overkill. And then at the end of this attack, discard charge. Now we go to the encounter step. And we deal with the encounter card. And we get a minion. And like I said, the way this would work is the minion would normally engage with me and come over here and be in my play area. But I like to keep all the bad guys in one area, so here we go. Shocker comes out. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each hero. So let's put him into play. So Shocker says that he deals 1 damage to each hero. These are not heroes, these are allies. I am the only hero, so I do take 1 damage from Shocker. Man, maybe I should have played that other thing. We retaliated and done some damage to Shocker. Now, a minion is just someone that he's going to help attack just like Rhino does. Except they don't get the boost card to this. So his attack's always going to be 2 and his scheme's always going to be 1. Alright, we go back to the beginning of my turn. Alright, for my first action, I'm going to activate the Avengers Mansion. Choose me to draw a card. My next action is going to be to bring out my 3rd ally. Like I said, you can have 3 of them. I'm going to try to bring out Blue Marvel here. So I'm going to exhaust this as a resource to give me 1 of this mental resource. And then discard 2 others. So that's 3 to bring out Blue Marvel. He's got 3 hit points. And as a hero response, after Blue Marvel enters play, change energy forms. So let's put him into play. Put his hit points on there. I have to change energy forms. So I will change out of the photon energy form to the gamma one. Giving me the +2 attack. And because I did that, it has a hero response. After you change this energy form, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Next, I want to bring out this Mighty Avengers. It is a support. It costs 3. I'm going to use this band together, which generates a wild resource for each ally I control. 1, 2, 3. So there's the 3 to pay for Mighty Avengers. When I put this into play, I can only have 1 team card, and it's all about that, per player. But in each of my characters now has the Avenger trait. If each of my characters has the Avenger trait, each ally I control gets +1 thwart and +1 attack. They all have the Avenger trait, so I get they all have +1 attack and +1 thwart. I'm going to attack with Blade, so he has 3 attack because of the Mighty Avengers. And I'm going to have him attack Shocker and take out Shocker. And he has the force response that after Blade thwarts or attacks, choose to either spend a strength resource from my hand or discard Blade. I have the last card of my hand, which is a strength resource, since I did that right this time. So he stays fine. Cap is exhausted, so he cannot do anything. Blue Marvel, I will exhaust. Did I do my 1 damage? I don't remember if I did the 1 damage. I'm not going to go back just in case I didn't. But I think I forgot to do the 1 damage when I switched forms here with Blue Marvel for some reason. But I'm going to exhaust Blue Marvel to do 2 plus the 1 from Mighty Avengers. 3 damage to Rhino. Taking him to 9. But he has to take the consequential damage, which is 1. And then now I'm going to exhaust Spectrum to attack Rhino for 1 plus 2 attack. And I do not get the Mighty Avengers thing, even though I have the Avenger thing, because this is only allies I control. So I still do 3 damage, taking him to 6. So I should have him as long as I can survive his bad guy thing. I was actually thinking I should have actually thwarted with her before I brought out Blue Marvel, just to make sure the scheme don't go crazy, but we'll see what happens. So I am done with what I'm going to do with my turn. I have no cards in hand, so we're going to draw back up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just saw, he's KO'd, beyond KO'd. As long as I survive this. So let's see what happens in the bad guy's turn as we first ready all of our stuff. All right. He's going to accelerate the scheme. He's going to attack. I could defend, but it's just going to only stop 1 damage. I'm at 10 hit points. I'm just going to take it. Let's see what happens. So right now he's doing 3 and 4. So he's doing 4 damage. Taking me to 6. And now we go to the encounter phase. Deal myself a card. Deal with the encounter. Brings out another minion. Sandman here. He starts with a toughness card on him. But there's nothing to stop me from just taking out Rhino, so we're just going to go ahead and put his hit points on him. Put the toughness on him. Go to the beginning of my turn. First things first. Why wouldn't I? Let's do Avengers Mansion just to draw another card. So I just realized I couldn't figure out why they put this Moxie in there. And because I mean, I get it. I've been changing forms with her because I knew the form change was back and forth. And even though I've been saying it the whole game, this card's really good with her because even when she goes into this Gamma form, that's considered changing a form. It's just the energy form changes she goes through are not restricted like the one-time alter ego / hero form change. So yeah, this card's really good with her. I will admit this character turned out to be a lot funner than I thought it would be. Don't know if I will do something with her. Maybe down the road I will. But I definitely got cards from her deck that I want to use. Like Captain America and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, that's just cool. I just now realized it. I was like, wait, I noticed it said form. And I knew changing form was flipping between hero and alter ego. But it just hit me that her Gamma and Photon and all that were energy forms. And that counts according to the rule book that comes with Mad Titan Shadow. But anyways, alright. I'm going to go ahead and do Gamma Blast. It costs 3. I have my 3rd band together that I just drew, which makes sense. I'm almost through my deck. But band together gives me 1 wild resource for each ally I have. I have 3 allies. So That pays for this, which is a hero action attack. I change the Gamma Energy form, already there, and deal 7 damage to an enemy. If I were already in Gamma Energy form, this attack gains overkill. So in this case, I'm going to choose to hold on that for a second. I mean, I could just do it and finish off Rhino, but I kind of wanted to knock out Sandman also. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on hold. We're not doing this yet. I just got distracted with that Moxie thing. First, we're going to attack Sandman with Blue Marvel. When we attack Sandman, that gets rid of the tough. And then now Blue Marvel takes 1 consequence damage. And then now we're going to play this using the band together to do Gamma Blast, targeting Sandman. So I do 7 damage with Overkill. So that means 4 damage goes to Sandman, KOing him, and 3 spills over into Rhino. Like I said, I'm just doing everything I can, just because I can. I want to play Photon Speed. So I'll use my energy duplication to give myself 1 energy and discard this for the second energy. This lets me change form, change to Photon Energy form. So change to Photon Energy form. Change the Photon Energy form. After I change to this energy form, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Remove 1 threat from a scheme. On top of that, as a hero response, after I change form, my hero gains +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense until the end of turn. So +1 to all my stats. Now we finish out the Photon Speed that we paid for. Or we paid for it and everything, but we changed the Photon Energy form. We removed 4 threat from a scheme. I was not already in Photon form, so the rest of that doesn't play out, but we remove all the rest of the threat from the break-in he was trying to pull off. And then now, because I love Captain America as a character, we're going to let Captain America attack Rhino for 2, +1 from the Mighty Avengers, KO and Rhino. So, sorry if that got a little messed up. I know I made a couple of let me take backsies things. One of them was just, it was more just realizing certain things about the way the deck worked. But yeah, that was fun. Because of the way the power's been fluctuating, unfortunately, I do not think I will get straight to the Adam Warlock deck. But I will try to get that filmed within the next day or so and get these all edited and posted up. Other than that, thank you for watching and have a great day.